Hi, Mystery Resurfaced here today. I'm going to explain a South Korean comedy film called Slow Video. How's the story goes on, watch ahead. The film begins in a CCTV control room, where two ladies are discussing their new young colleague. He is wearing shades inside, which the ladies believe is weird. Suddenly, they identify two looters on the run. Their supervisor is informed, and they rapidly calls the police. Everybody in the workplace tracks the burglars through the cameras, but they get lost when they begin losing trust. The new employee shows them a clip of the robbers hiding in a rear entryway. Way as a result of his assistance. They are soon caught by the police. The employee's name is Yeo Jang-Boo, and he has an interesting genetic condition that makes him see everything in slow motion utilizing his disorder. He had the option to see where the robbers went, despite they were moving at a high speed. When Jang-Boo was in class 5, he participated in a relay race with his childhood crush Bong Soo-mi. That was the point at which he first began to see things in slow motion. His parents took him to Dr. Sok, who diagnosed him to have dynamic visual sharpness, a rare disorder that empowers him to outwardly see observe detail in a moving item that ordinary people can't, as though he's seen the world in slow motion. To prove that Jang-Boo, as in fact has the problem, the specialist tosses a baseball at him at high speed, which he catches effortlessly. The specialist encourages him to wear shades consistently for comfort. After Jang-Boo is analyzed, his dad flies to an outside country to bring in cash for his treatment. Jang-Boo is left at home with his mom and 4 younger sister. He claims that the issue has been a gift and a curse simultaneously. In spite of the fact that he could watch the wind move women's skirts in slow motion, he was bullied in school for his shades. His only friend then was Sumi, who he began to fall in love with. However, as time passed, Sumi got seriously bullied for being his friend, thus she left him. Following that, Jang-Boo has never had a friend. He wanted to lose his eyesight completely, so he watched TV all the time. His vision didn't actually deteriorate, however he fostered a fixation on K-dramas. He learned all the interactive abilities from the actors in the drama, yet never escaped the house to rehearse them. His dad wouldn't get back to Korea in any event during holidays in year to save cash, yet everything went to waste when one day he passed on account of an accident in the workplace. Following the death, the only man that Jang-Boo was near to is Dr. Sok. He encourages him to see the world beyond his room and help his family with cash. For that reason, Jang-Boo begins to work in the CCTV control place. In a talk, he claims that he likes to watch people on the screen since it helps him to remember dramas. The main contrast is that in this drama, everybody is the lead actor. His colleague Byung-soo talks with their supervisor about Jang-Boo's way of behaving, guaranteeing that he is extremely contemplative and doesn't talk with anybody. He vows to deal with the person since he is a genuine talent. Byung-soo sits beside to him at work and tries to talk with Jang-Boo. In any case, a shy Jang-Boo answers all of Byung-soo's inquiries in his mind, and doesn't address him while checking the cameras. He is by all accounts counting the number of steps people take to arrive at a specific spot. Byung-soo believes it's strange, however poses no inquiries trying to associate with him. Byung-soo inquires as to whether he has a girlfriend. This helps Jang-Boo to remember Sumi, so he goes to her home. The extremely following day, Sumi has grown up into an excellent lady, yet with monetary issues, her debt collector annoys her to offer the house to repay her loans. Jang-Boo watches her from afar, however is too frightened to even think about talking with her. That day onwards, he watches her through the CCTV cameras consistently and remembers her day-to-day daily practice. Around evening time, she drinks soda in front of a coffee house, so he also does the same. He sees her eyeing an unwanted couch on the way and drags it before the coffee house. Sumi sees the couch, however doesn't appreciate it. The next day she is stuck at a bus station as a result of heavy rainfall. Jang-Boo sees this on the screen and goes to assist her with Byung-soo. He places the umbrella over her like in the K-dramas, however Soo-mi calls him a creep and leaves. Following that, the two go to Dr. Sok, requesting ways Jang-Boo could dazzle Soo-mi. He proposes Jang-Boo to give her flowers. Soo-mi is late for her musical show tryout. The following day, she calls the manager and begins singing in the street as her tryout. As she sings a delightful tune, the observers watch her in awe. Jang-Boo also shows up there with a bundle of roses. He gives her the bouquet after the tune, however Soo-mi doesn't appreciate it. She lets him know she would prefer to favor a box of ramen and leaves. Jang-Boo calls out to her, lastly presents himself as her childhood best friend, yet she claims that she is Oh Soo-mi and not Bong Soo-mi. It turns out Jang-Boo has been following the wrong lady all this time, yet he has begun to fall for her profoundly. That evening, they unintentionally bump into each other, and Soo-mi makes Jang-Boo carry her groceries prior to leaving. Soo-mi asks him for what reason he is searching for Bong Soo-mi. To which he answers that he used to like her in school. The following day at work, Jang-Boo sees Soo-mi get a call on the screen. The person on the opposite end tells her that she got a job in music. She bounces and dances on the roads as Jang-Boo watches her on the screen. That evening Soo-mi goes to celebrate at a local roadside cafe. She sees Jang-Boo watching her from outside and welcomes him in. As they talk she shows him the musical content and practices her lines. Jang-Boo praises her acting and shows her his very own ability. Soon, the whole cafe watches Jang-Boo get spoons tossed at him. The next day Jang-Boo walks around Soo-mi's neighborhood while counting his steps. Byung-soo sees him doing this and acknowledges he is attempting to memorize the ways. While getting back, Soo-mi finds Jang-Boo sitting tight for her. They walk together, discussing a few things. She asked him what his occupation is and figures out that he works at the CCTV center and can watch people all day out. They stop before the coffee house that Soo-mi always stares at. She uncovers that she has a keen interest in the coffeehouse owner, and spouts about him owning a car. A jealous Jang-Boo stares at the owner for quite a while. He has decided to take her on a ride to dazzle her. He inquired as to whether his colleagues own a car and any expectations of getting it. Nonetheless, not even one of them ended up claiming one. While getting back, Soo-mi is approached by the debt collector. He begins to shout at her and takes steps to hit her, on the off chance that she doesn't return the cash. Jang-Boo and Byung-soo, who showed up there exactly on time and save her from the man. When Jang-Boo gets back to work, Soo-mi yells, "Thank you" to one of the cameras, realizing that he is watching on the opposite end. Toward the day's end, they meet at a park and talk for quite a while. Jang-Boo inquired what she'll do if she owned a car, to which Soo-mi says that she would head to the sea consistently. Since he can't get a car, Jang-Boo gets to know his local bus driver by traveling with him every day. He had been watching the driver play baseball alone around evening time through the cameras. At the day's end, Jang-Boo goes along with him for a game and asks him for some help. Byung-soo the bus driver and Jang-Boo get Soo-mi from the bus station the following day and advance toward Busan to visit the sea. Seeing his efforts to fulfill her, Soo-mi begins to like Jang-Boo. However, their bus is stopped by the border police, who don't permit the local district bus to enter the other region. An angry Soo-mi attempts to fight the cop, while Byung-soo quiets her down. Their work is pointless on the grounds that toward the day's end, they need to get back without arriving at the sea. Jang-Boo's supervisor informs them regarding ongoing instances of ladies being abducted around the town, and requested that they be fully on guard consistently. All of a sudden, Jang-Boo saw Soo-mi on a screen, however she vanishes just after he freaks out and hurries to check whether she is okay, just to see that she was attempting to trick him to check whether he will come. Soo-mi removes his glasses interestingly and the two at last kiss. Jang-Boo brings Soo-mi back home, and she welcomes him in. However, their plans are ruined when Soo-mi sees the debt collector in her home. They throw her belongings around, threatening her to return the cash. Jang-Boo attempts to hurry to her, however unexpectedly tumbles down as his vision goes blurry. After the men leave, Jang-Boo and Soo-mi sit down to talk. In the heap of stuff that the collector threw out, drawings that Jang-Boo made for Soo-mi when they were in school, Soo-mi uncovers that she misled him about being an alternate lady, since she would have rather not been compared to her younger self. Jang-Boo keeps calm the entire time. Soo-mi looks at the drawings while smiling. He visits Dr. Sok the following day, informing him that his eyes have gotten blurry. It would appear with time, his problem has gotten worse, due to which he will lose his vision very soon. Jang-Boo had realized that he would ultimately go visually impaired one day. For that reason he has been counting steps wherever he goes. So it would be simpler for him when he loses his vision completely. While Jang-Boo is pained by his worsening vision, Soo-mi is stressed over her debt. She sells her home and assembles sufficient cash to take care of her lenders, however presently she has no place to reside. Jang-Boo watches her on screen while she talks with a shopkeeper with a crate of her assets. Abruptly, his colleague sees a car dubiously surrounding a same area. She takes a look at its number plate and notifies that the car belongs to a kidnapper on the run. She tells the chief and the police are informed right away. However, they fail to focus on the car and simultaneously Jang-Boo neglects to focus on Soo-mi. He goes crazy and rushes to save her from expected risk on his way. He loses his vision totally and crashes the bike. Byung-soo sees this through the cameras and races to help him. Soo-mi on the other hand, is drawn nearer by a strange man who snatches her arm. Yet before he can remove her, Jang-Boo begins to run towards them. The abductor takes off, however Jang-Boo nearly collides with a bus. The police show up and take Soo-mi in for cross-examination. Now Jang-Boo is abandoned in the roads and is helped by Byung-soo. He cries while holding his friend, crushed on losing his vision. A few days have passed since the occurrence. Soo-mi gets going with her life and doesn't contact Jang-Boo. She takes a look at the CCTV cameras, frequently when she misses him. A couple of months after the fact, she sees Jang-Boo inside her favorite cafe. She cheerfully moves toward him and waves her hand, yet is stunned when Jang-Boo draws out his stick and walks the alternate way. She follows him around the town, lastly arrives at an art gallery that is loaded up with paintings of her that Jang-Boo has drawn. In a speech Jang-Boo says that he has lost his vision, yet he still remembers her. The next day, Soo-mi again follows him, however this time he asks her where she needs to go. She understands that he can detect her and the film ends as the two hugs. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.